Hello YouTube, Dave here again, and today I am back with another WWE replica belt video. And today I'm going to be talking about the dual-plated Winged Eagle Championship. This was a replica that I initially wasn't really interested in. The Winged Eagle was never one of my favorite designs, though I have to admit over the course of the last few months, it's really started to grow on me. And part of it's just going back and rewatching some classic moments from like the era that this belt was used, some of the Bret Hart title matches, Yokozuna's title reign, just things along those lines. That's just kind of cool to go back on. And I started to get more of a, more of a fondness for the design of the Winged Eagle. And I started watching other people's reviews because the pictures on WWE Shop of this version of the Winged Eagle are not great. They're not the best. They're not the most flattering pictures. And I will admit that one of the big issues is the lighting, and that's probably going to be the same issue that I'm going to have in this video because I am using a white light to illuminate everything. And so it may not look as good on video as it does in person, so I do apologize for that. But I do have to record these late at night, and even when if it was the daytime, where I record this is so far away from a window that the light wouldn't really make that much of a difference anyway. So anyway, let's just get into it here. The first thing we got is the belt bag with the Legends logo. This is my favorite WWE logo, I have to say. And I love it more than the block WWF logo or the scratch logo or the network logo. I just think it's a very nice, clean, symmetrical logo, which looks great on these older belts like my classic Intercontinental, my other Winged Eagle, the block logo Big Eagle belt that I have. I just love this this logo here. We also have the material on the outside is pretty standard, but on the inside of the belt here, let's just sort of get this open. I still have the foam insert in here, but they actually do have a really nice soft material on the inside that some of the older belt bags, even from the ones that I have, just didn't have. They were a little bit kind of rougher feeling. So even though this does have the foam still in there, I probably will actually end up taking the foam out and just having the belt bag be able to touch the plates themselves, because this is such a soft liner that I'm not worried about it scratching anything. So that's the belt bag, but we're not here to talk about the belt bag. We're here to talk about the belt. So here we go. So yeah, this is a dual-plated belt, and I've seen other like dual-plated belts like the Andre, the classic tags, like the Hogan 86. And even some other ones. And I was never a huge fan of dual-plated belts, but I think this might be the best design to possibly have for a dual-plated belt. I'll talk a little bit about that more at the end of the video, but what we're going to do now is just we're going to go from end to end and take a look at what we've got here. Because one of the first things that I have to mention about this is the simulated leather strap is one of the nicest straps I've seen on any of these replica belts that I've owned. It's up there with just how accurate or how sort of flexible it is for a simulated leather. It's never going to be as flexible as an actual leather strap, but it's so much better than some of the other ones that I've had, like the Smoking Skull or some of the other belts that I've had in my collection. But this one's actually really nice and pretty decently floppy for what it is. But let's go from end to end here. We've got the snap box, which is a 2x8 on the male side. You've got the simulated tooling in there, as well as some simulated beveling going around the belt itself, or the different sections of the strap. You've also got this area, which again looks nice and beveled, which looks really, really cool. You can see that this portion is kind of flat, and then it sort of slopes down on the sides there before we get to the area that goes around the plates with the camouflage shell tooling. Then we've got the plates themselves, and again, the angle that I have to record these at, it's not going to show the best results for these plates, but I'll try to put them at a couple of different angles, so hopefully you can kind of see just how really nice the dual plating really is on this. So dual plating, obviously, it's two different types of metal used to cover the plates. You've got like a nickel or silver plating in the recessed areas, so they would basically these would all be plated in like nickel or silver first, and then they would put the gold plating on all of the raised up areas. So anything that's sort of etched away from the plate, like the sunburst patterns or the WWE logo, portions of the grapplers here, or the scroll patterns. So they would all be done in the gold plating. And again, it looks really nice on this belt. So you got the two guys, one sort of doing a takedown of the other. Then we got the wrestlers grappling. These are the same guys that appear on the center plate, which we'll take a closer look at here in a moment. You also have the WWE logo with the silver plating in the lines between the two W's, which again looks really, really, really nice. You can kind of see it there. And the W's are actually properly centered on this one. I will be doing a separate video that it will be a comparison between the 2021, I believe it was, or 2020, whenever this version of the Winged Eagle came out. I'll be comparing that to my all gold white strapped Winged Eagle, and you'll sort of see some of the differences. But they actually did center the WWE logo properly. The other ones were centered as if it still had the F portion of the WWF logo, so it was slightly off to the left. So you'll see that when I do the other, when I do the comparison video. But yeah, again, really, really nice looking plates there. And I just, like I said, I absolutely love the way that the dual plating looks on this. On the other side, we got the same thing. We just have the grapplers there and the takedown. Then we've got the WWE Champion logo plate. Now this is a 5mm plate. On the real belt, it was only a 2mm plate. Some people may not like that because it's not quote-unquote accurate, but I've got to say that I would rather the plate be thicker, if I could be honest. You know, you pay enough for these as it is that sometimes it's nice to get a slightly thicker plate than maybe what was on the original. And then we got the 2x5 on the female side of the snaps and our gold tip, which again looks really, really nice. Just flipping it over here for a second, you will see that the screws are completely covered. So you're not going to be able to take the plates off without actually cutting away the backing that goes on over top of them. Now, I've had this only for a little while, and so far the backing is holding up really well. I will say, though, some of the other belts that I have, the backing tends to crack anywhere where the belt sort of folds. So I've been trying not to fold too much of this one so far. The backing does feel to be a little bit of a thicker material, or maybe a slightly better material than what some of the other belts that I have, like my Undisputed. It's cracked really bad anywhere where it's just folded up from either the way that it was displayed or from just simply handling it. So far this one's been good, and I hope it stays that way. I do eventually want to get into doing some leather work myself and actually making my own straps for my own replicas. So when that happens, I might eventually do one for this as well, but I don't have any immediate plans to do anything with the strap, because I think the strap on here is actually really, really nice. You can also see that the screws are more centralized on the main plate. They're not connecting on the outer edges or anything like that. So when we actually, if we fold the strap back like this, you can actually see the plate kind of hangs off. So the strap hangs down in a more accurate way to the way that the actual belt did. You could see like the way Bret Hart would hold it sometimes. You could see like the plate just sort of hanging off of the strap. And you can also see that the sidebars are a part of the center plate now. They're actually physically attached. They're not separate pieces like they were on the older version. So let's just flip this over. We can also see there is a little bit of a curve to this belt. It's not huge, but it doesn't need to be. Like, this is not a large belt, so the curve needs to be relatively small. Otherwise, it just doesn't look good. And I've seen other like bootlegs of the Winged Eagle where they did overly curve it, and it just, you know, when you got like a 2-inch or greater curve on this small plate, it just makes it look like, it just looks awful, right? I don't think this is a belt that needs a great big curve on it. But anyway, it does have a little bit of a curve. I think it's about 1 inch overall. So from the center point of the plate, from the bottom of the strap to the table, from the bottom of the plate to the table, I think it's about 1 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. But yeah, it's just enough that it does look good, like it does look more proper or more accurate. but not enough that it makes the plate look already small, like smaller than it needs to. So I think they did a really good job with that. It also has the stacked world plate, so this is a separate piece that is placed on top, and it is screwed in on the back. Some of the earlier versions of this belt, the screws that they used for the world banner actually were more rounded than the screws that were used for the rest of the plate, so they kind of protruded off of the back a little bit, which looked a little bit odd. With this one, though, they blend in much better than they did with the other ones, so you can barely even see that they're there, which is great. But yeah, the stacked plate, again, is the way that the real Winged Eagle was. It actually had, the world banner was a separate piece that was secured to the center plate. And I always thought that they stopped doing that around like WrestleMania, like around WrestleMania 10 or 11, maybe 12. But up until the very final days, the Winged Eagle had that world banner. In fact, I remember being weird that the hardcore title, which was a smashed up Winged Eagle, not the Mr. Perfect smashed up Winged Eagle, just a different smashed up Winged Eagle, but it didn't have the word world anywhere on it. It was just sort of this blank spot on the center plate. So I thought that was kind of weird because I never realized that it actually had a separate stacked piece on there. But I have to say, like, at first I didn't like the idea of just a single banner being stacked on the plate, but truthfully, it's one of those things that it's kind of growing on me. I really do like it now. It's kind of cool to see. You also have the wings, which are extended beyond, or they're longer than the wings on the previous version of the belt, and they actually do come off of the leather. So for people that liked that leather cut where the wings were actually protruding off of the leather strap, this sort of simulates that as well, which I know, again, a lot of people absolutely love. Again, we got the dual plating here, so the recessed areas behind or beside the sunburst pattern, in with the WWE logo, and sort of, again, the background here is all silver plated, whereas the raised up details are all gold plated. You've got the eagle's feathers as well, which again look really, really nice. See if I can get the light to kind of make those. Looks like they almost glow in the way that the light hits them, which is fantastic. You've got the small central glow on the plate, but the etching is actually deeper on this one than it is on the other Winged Eagle, so you do get a better sense of depth. Even with the plastic that they use, instead of actual paint, you can still see quite a bit of depth, which looks really, really good. You've got the Wrestling Champion banner here with the globes on either side. The swirl patterns, which contain a hidden maple leaf, because Reggie Parks, the person who originally created the Winged Eagle, was Canadian, so it's nice to see that he included the maple leaf in there, that they actually kept that detail, which is great. And then you also have the unpainted heavyweight banner. So yeah, again, just a really, really nice belt, and one that it's quickly becoming one of my favorite replicas. And it's made me kind of reevaluate my thoughts on the Winged Eagle belt, and even on dual-plated belts in general. So, like I said, I was never a huge fan of dual-plated belts because, again, I looked at things like the Andre belt, the classic tags, and one of the things that I just didn't like about those was the fact that there was just a lot of empty space on those plates that were just silver plated, and you only had little spots of gold like the eagle on the tag belt with the crowns and the lettering inside of like the banners and like the laurel going around. But there's just a lot of silver. And the same thing with the Andre belt. There's a lot of just flat like silver plating on it that I just don't quite like the look of. But this design, I think this design is perfect for a dual-plated belt because there's so much raised up detail that's going to be gold-plated that the silver plating, it's not distracting or it doesn't take away from the design like I think it does with the classic dual-plated tags or the Andre belt. But it actually makes the details kind of pop a little bit more. Like the silver plating makes the gold things like the scroll patterns or the grapplers or even things just like the WWE logo. It just makes them pop quite a bit more. Like it just looks really, really nice. The heavyweight banner being unpainted might not be to everybody's taste. I've seen several people post videos of them actually modifying the belt to paint in the word heavyweight. And it's not something I'm going to rule out, but it's not something I plan on doing anytime soon. I do kind of wish, though, that the dual plating was also included in the heavyweight banner. Like, I think it would have been kind of nice if the background of the word heavyweight was silver and then you just had the gold lettering. I think that would pop a little bit better, but the actual belt was the same way. This was all gold plated. It wasn't actually dual plated in the heavyweight banner. Now, I was trying to nail down exactly which version of the belt that this is, because I've heard people refer to it as the WrestleMania 4 belt, which it's not. And it's not for a couple of reasons. One of the main ones, though, is the fact that the sidebars are way too long for the WrestleMania 4 version. The WrestleMania 4, the bars just kind of were more like that. They were barely, you know, going above the horizontal pieces here. And the tip, the gold tip on the WrestleMania 4 actually had two 3D diamonds that were part of the tip itself. So it's not the WrestleMania 4 belt. It kind of looks like the WrestleMania 5 belt that Hogan celebrated with. But I don't remember, but I think that one actually had the heavyweight banner painted black. I could be wrong on that. I know the WrestleMania 6 belt was dual plated, the one that Warrior won. And that one was had the heavyweight banner painted in, and the cut of the leather is also similar to later versions of the strap, like the final version, the chipped eagle version. So yeah, it's kind of an amalgamation of several different versions of the championship. So you have the unpainted heavyweight banner, which was like the original version, or the earliest versions of the belt, but it has just the flat gold tip without the 3D diamonds. So it has to at least be the WrestleMania 5 belt that Hogan celebrated with. And yeah, the unpainted heavyweight banner, the longer sidebars. It's kind of cool, actually. I actually kind of like that it's a blend of different versions, and it has a painted WWE champion logo plate, which a lot of the earlier versions of the dual-plated Winged Eagle didn't have black paint on it. It was just dual-painted or dual-plated. So like the Randy Savage one, for example, was actually dual-plated. It wasn't painted. I think the one that Hogan celebrated with after beating Macho Man, I'm pretty sure that one had the paint on there. So again, it's a little bit of a blend. I'd say it's closest to the WrestleMania 5 belt that Hogan won, and not the WrestleMania 5 belt that Randy Savage wore to the ring. But yeah, just overall, this is just a really beautiful belt. And yeah, the Winged Eagle, it's a design that I feel kind of bad now that I rated pretty low on my ranking video for world title designs. So I might have to revisit that. And I might even just do like a ranking video for all of the replicas in my collection, because I do have the European, as well as a couple of Intercontinental titles that I may as well throw in the mix there. But yeah, this is a really beautiful belt, and yeah, it's making me really reconsider my stance on the Winged Eagle before. It's still kind of a small belt, right, compared to everything else, but this is just such a fantastic replica that it's made me really rethink my feelings on this. And yeah, it just looks really, really great. I love the dual plating on this. Actually, when my wife saw this, she's like, this is her favorite belt of all the ones that I have, because she loves the two different colors on it, and she loves the fact that the wings actually come off of the strap. So those were things that she really liked about it. And yeah, it's just overall, it's just a beautiful belt. The sidebars are also thicker, and they have a slightly different shape to them than the original replica that I have. But yeah, I'll be doing a comparison video on both of those designs at some point in the very near future. So we'll be doing that. But let's just kind of set this down here, and we'll just give a little homage to the WrestleMania 6 main event, which was between two people that I don't particularly care about, but it was a good main event. And so here we'll just do this. So you got the yellow Ultimate Warrior Intercontinental title, and we've got the dual-plated Winged Eagle belt. These were the titles that were defended at that year's WrestleMania in Toronto. But yeah, anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Have you picked this replica up? What are your thoughts on dual-plated titles in general? Do you prefer them to be like this, where it's mostly gold, with just enough silver to highlight the actual details? Or do you like the more like flat open designs that have just a great deal of silver on them with minor gold detailing? Let me know that in the comments, and I hope you guys come back for my comparison video between the dual-plated Winged Eagle and the all-gold white-strapped Winged Eagle that I picked up a couple of years ago. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Until then, take care.